Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on these sections now, putting and decorating our ephemera, and we're going to create two pieces. Remember, we've got these. Here's the belly band. We're going to make two little cards for there to start with. So let's set that aside. What I did is I took one of the journal pages. I cut them up into strips, your size, whatever you want, just as long as they fit into the belly band. I took some die cuts and cut out the images. Let me flip this over so you can see what I'm working with. And if you don't have any die cuts, that's okay. Just measure with your ruler, use your craft knife, and cut out a little square. Draw a circle, cut around the circle, whatever you would like. So we're going to ink these up, and then we're going to back them with some acetate. I'll show you how to do that one more time. But you want to ink it up before you put your acetate, or you're going to get ink all over it. So I have done that. It's not fun to get off. It comes off easy, but it's time consuming to get it all. So there, we got them. And let's flip them over. Make sure we got them right side up. As you can see on this one, I cut it more in the middle. This one more to the top, just to have something different going on. Let's get our acetate here and see if we have, I think this scrap we had from when we did our belly band. Some measure it like so. Keeping in mind, these edges are very narrow. So we've got 1/8 of an inch on our score tape. So I'm going to bring it as close to the edge, and we'll trim off if we need to. I hope you have kept up with it so far, and that I've made it clear enough so that you could. And like I said, you can reach out and touch me anytime you want. Just message me. And I don't care what the question is. Thinking, oh, I can't answer that. That sounds silly or whatever. You ask me anyway. We're going to cover all the sides. Try to make sure that there's none of your score tape hanging over the edge of the acetate. This doesn't want to cooperate with me. Okay, we're going to remove the top piece totally. Just get enough of the sides there so we can fold them over. Have our little tabs to hold on to. There. Line up the bottom. Our tape is still here, so we can lay it right down on our paper without any problems. Just to get it lined up there. And press it down. Then just pull your tape off. I don't think we have anything hanging over. Doesn't look like it. Nope. Now we're going to back this. And I just took a piece of the steampunk papers that we're using. And we're going to draw around it. Like so. And I'm going to cut it right on the right side of my line, just to make sure that I've got it straight. Might have to trim off a little bit, but that's okay. Now we're going to use, the white side is going to go like so, because we want the back to be covered. So I printed off one of the journal pages in a 5x7. We're going to take our window, lay it down here, get this clock where we want it. That looks good. And we don't need all of that, so I will cut it off about there and about there. I can't see my pencil marks. Let's see. Here we go. Now we're going to position this on here. Get our little paper that we just cut out, our little image, and see about where we want it. It's moved over just a little. Just move it again. There we go. And what I'm going to do, I've got it where I want it. And you see it doesn't fit. It doesn't matter. We're going to cover it up. I'm going to put a line up there and a line on the side. So when I glue it down, I know exactly where it needs to go. Lined up with our lines there. Now we're going to glue down our front. And because I'm so close right there, and acetate and glue, my glue, does not like it, so let's put some tape right on each side. Make sure it's not hanging over. You just need to put it along the acetate, not the whole card. This square tape is just being a pain this morning. There we go. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove our tape. Pokey tool. The backing of the tape. on the top. We're going to cover up our tape with glue so we can slide it around. Let's get it lined up here best we can. I've got some trimming to do right there on the edge. Need to change this blade. Let's hope it's still sharp enough. Remember when I cut it just a tad longer? Well, that tad is what I'm cutting off, because I had rather it be too long and trim it than too short, and I had to cut another piece. It is so small that it's hard to get a hold of here. But we'll just keep cutting away. Top, we got just a little tad. There. Let's round the corners. Corner rounder here. There we go. Ink it up. I thought the steampunk papers that Polka Art Studio had worked really well with this, because all the gears that are in steampunk, well, we have gears in the old clocks. So it really went well. So there's one of our cards, and we're going to stick it right in there. Now let's do this one, same way. Make sure we've got it right side up. I hope you've enjoyed the process so far. I've tried to make it as beginner-friendly as possible. Take all around the edges. And score tape, when you're using it, you have to watch if there's any dried glue on your fingers. It's going to pull it right off. So it's good for cleaning your fingers, but not for laying down it on acetate. I have done it many times. Side up. I'm going to remove the top. Just remove the sides. just a little bit. And do the same thing as we did before. You can lay down the bottom and the sides, get it positioned. And we can lay down the sticky. Pull off our tape. To get my pokey tool in there, make it a little bit easier. If you don't have one of these things, you can use a toothpick. You can use an old ice pick, whatever you have that you can get under there. There you go. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the other half of our card, get it positioned like we want it. Get the old clock there in the center, the table, showing all the clock making. Need some new red in this pencil. And about there. And about there. I can see my marks. Yell at me, I don't see them. There they are. When you make a pencil mark, if you can get the glare of the light onto it, it kind of shines so you can see it. Get some piece here, our paper. Line up your top with your bottom and then get your little card we're going to stick in here. About like so. Make us a mark. I'm going to trim this side off just a little bit. Right against our pencil mark there. Now on this one, if this card is a little bit wider, we've got enough where we don't need to put the acetate. Excuse me, the score tape over the acetate. Got all our edges. Get it lined up. See what it looks like. Looking good. A little bit hang over there, which we can trim off. can see the clock through there. Let's do some trimming with my dull blade. I'm just going to snip it off. Gently back. A little bit right there. And like I said, it's better to trim than it is to cut your piece too short. Because we can always cut it down to whatever size we want. Yeah. Should we round these? Why not? Let's make them the same. I'll trim that off just a little bit. Okay, let's get our corners rounded here. Get it inked up. Still see that little there. Finally. This one in there, and there's our two parts. Looks great, I think. Hope you do too. We'll start on this section now. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to make something, an interactive pocket thingy for here. I'm going to put a flip on it to hold it in place. All we need to do, select whatever paper you would like. We're going to make sure that it's running in the direction. You can see that this bottle is this way, so you don't want to turn your paper like this. So keep it straight. Let's get a measurement. I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch on each side to get my width. Get the trusty trimmer. And let's see how long we want it. I'm going to make a card to go in here, so we don't want it too far up. Our flip's going to come. We need our little key to turn down here. So we're going to make it about there. And that's going to be about 6 1/4 inches. You can make yours whatever size you want. But since it is the centerpiece, I want it to take up as much as possible. So this is going to go like so. So we can move this out of the way. Before we forget, we want to put a punch here. Just kind of eyeball it. I do. You can measure if you want. Okay, that's going to be that one. Now we're going to put another paper over the top of this. I was thinking about putting this on it also. So let's move it up a little bit. Just kind of getting everything balanced. About 1/4 of an inch over here. Get that. Nope, we won't have enough for a 1/4 inch there. So, because we want to see the background, we don't want to cover it up, so we're going to put that about there. 1/4 inch on each side, and about a 1/4 inch at the bottom. Let's get that trimmed. Find my marks. And I think, let's see, do we want tabs on this? Let's put tabs on it so it's not so tight. So erase my mark. Leave about a 1/2 inch for a little tab. It's going to go about there. Put it about here. So measure a 1/2 inch from our, I went in about a 1/4 inch. I'm going to put my ruler at my 1/4 inch mark and then come out here a 1/2 inch. Find my school board under all this paper. When you start laying paper on top of paper, it gets tighter and tighter. So I'm going to score down my 1/2 inch on each side. Close in. Check it, make sure it looks okay. And we have ended up with a 1/2 inch on each side. I said a 1/4 inch, but now we have a 1/2 inch. I'm going to put another little thumb notch there using the same size. This is a 1 inch punch. Just kind of eyeball it. Let's get these 2 pieces inked up. One. Cut off our little corners. I've been trying to decide, and I need you to give me some feedback, ladies out there and gentlemen. Should I go ahead and make the 2nd and the 3rd section, or should I just stop with the 1st section, do the cover? Since I've shown you how to put all the little flips and flops and all that stuff in it, and just let you make up your own. You need to give me some feedback on this, so I'll know what I'm doing, because I want to make sure that you get what you want out of this tutorial. I'll be glad to make the other sections if you want, but if it's not necessary to you, you've got the idea, and you want to play around and make up your own, that's great. So please do let me know. Centered here. Again, about a 1/2 inch on each side. I'm lining up my thumb holes. Make sure no glue is left. We don't want it to be shiny. Now we're going to put another one on top of that. Let's find one of our little, remember how we made all these 5x7, 4x6, all of that? Let's see what's going to fit on here. That's cute. Let's do that one. If I can hold on to this paper clip. Jeez. Okay, we're going to cut this in half. And we end up with this. And that's going to go here. And I want room, I want some space in here. If we glue it straight down like that, it's going to be tight. So let's put, we could put some tabs on it. I could make it a folder. Let's make it a folder. Okay, scratch that, pick another one that we're not going to cut in half. We're gonna, this was just one of the journal pages that we made into a 4x6. So we're going to leave, instead of making a little pull, we'll make a little booklet. We're going to fold this, and it'll be like so. Or we can fold it like this. Yeah, I think I like that better. Then we'll cover this side of it, because we'll lose our picture if we do it that way, so we're going to do it this way. We're just going to fold it in half. Put that there. So we need to cover this side. Let's get it inked up. And I always ink it up in case you're off just a smidgen. You won't have any white showing. And let's take, will this little guy fit? He sure will. This is the first one we cut. We're just going to glue him down on there. Here's our inside. We're going to completely glue him down. Get him lined up the best we can. Then we'll have to flip him over and see how we did. Pretty darn good. A little bit of trimming there. Then we have pretty sides here. We could put a little pocket in there if we wanted. Get him all inked up. Sticking out there. Let's turn that off. That'll look cute. We're going to glue all this down. Now if you wanted, you could only glue the sides and the bottom and you could have another one. Or we could stick it in this way. It'd be a little tight. We would have to really trim down. let's do that anyway. Okay, we're going to glue sides and the folded edge. This is the open. So we're going to glue here, here, and here. And we'll just cut a card down and make it fit. I do that all the time. Just gives you an extra way. You're not stuck with a certain size. You can make your card fit what you want to do. Glue it in the center of the second section we glued. And again, we've got about a 1/2 inch on each side. Top and bottom is about the same. Press it down. And we have a little pocket to go in there. Now, we're going to make this where it is removable. So we need to cover our back. So just pick out a piece of cardstock. Let's see what I have here. We could do, how about these gears? Just glue that on here. Now at this point, if you wanted this to have a lot of room in here, you could move this over, score a 1/2 inch on this side, move out here, score along here, have a 1/2 inch flap, and we would fold that in to give you more room. It's up to you, whichever you would want to do. If you want to do it the hard way, we can, not really the hard way, but the more involved way, we can do that. So I can show you how you can make your own. So I'm going to put about a 1/2 inch here. And I do this the easy way on my ruler. This ruler has, right here is a 1/2 inch, so if I line that up with the edge, I know that that's a 1/2 inch. Put my card on the line. I'm going to draw a line here because that's going to be my score line. And I'm going to measure out a 1/2 inch from that line. And there's no need to put one at the bottom. I hope you're following me. I hope I haven't made it so confusing. And let's see how long we need it. Get these matched up at the top. That little scrap of paper does not want to leave. And we may have to do some trimming. That is to be seen when we glue it down. But you can always fix stuff. It's not a big deal at all. Have fun with it. You know, try something. If it didn't work, you go, shouldn't do that again. I do that all the time. That's how you learn. Let's fold them in. Like so. We can trim off our little corners. Don't cut your fold line. Right up to the fold line. Now, because this is the same size, we're going to have this little white thing. Now, there's two things we can do. We can glue a little piece of paper in there to cover up the white, or we can ink it. So let's ink it and see what it looks like. If we don't like it, we'll just glue a piece of paper there. I think that looks fine, and it really defines the little space here. You're always welcome to glue a little piece in there. And if you glue it, glue it like about 3/4 of an inch on each side to this paper here. That would make sure that you get it all covered. Let's glue our back. And if you ever have questions, please don't hesitate. Just ask me. You go, oh, I can't ask her that. That sounds silly. I don't care. Just ask me. I don't know everything, but I will answer what I'm doing. Hopefully I can figure that one out. Get it lined up best we can. Hopefully I've got my scores right. If not, we'll just trim it off a little bit. And just a tiny bit off there. Now when I'm trimming this, it's the front that I'm trimming off. You can't trim off the back because then you would lose your tab, which is stuck under there now. So I'll cut this off. Hope it's dry enough. If not, I'll have a big mess going on. See, tiny little sliver. And this made it big enough where it'll hold a lot of cards if you wanted to put that in there. And I don't like that I'm seeing this white here. I should have inked all the way across, so we're just going to sneak in there with our ink. There, all fixed. Now, I do not believe we have a card that is big enough for that, so we're going to make one. I'm going through my pages here, seeing which one I could chop up to make something we want. See, you just look at them and see which one can I get rid of and still have a pretty picture. Let's use her. Hopefully we can get her small enough. So at first we're going to trim as small as we can get without hindering our picture. I kept right up to her scissors there. I'm going to trim off this extra here. Let's see, maybe we can get a good idea. Because now that we have our tabs, we have the full width, as you can see, like so. Look in there, there's a white edge showing. See? So, usually when you glue down something, you lose approximately 1/4 of an inch on each side because the glue smears. So we want to make sure our little card will fit in there. I'm just kind of sticking one end of it in there, getting an idea. And I'm going to give it a little wiggle room, about 1/8 of an inch there shorter. It's about 1/8 of an inch here shorter. Cut that down. See if it'll go in there nicely. And we're going to back it. We're just seeing how much we want it to stick out, and to know that, we need to get our big piece here. Remember, our little key is going to go here, and it's going to swing and hold this, hold the flap shut. So we need it up a little bit for that to work. So we're going to go about to here, right above that purple bar. Okay, get that trimmed off. Give it one more test drive. Yep, sticking up nice. And you can make more. You don't have to just do the one because we have lots of space in there. So we want to back this. And let's grab, let's see, Let's grab one of these, make a writing space. I'm going to trim off this edge. You don't have to. It's the way the paper's made, and it's really pretty, but for this, I want it all solid. I don't mind if there's some at the bottom. I'm going to glue that down. I hope y'all are caught up with me, or at least good enough that you've understood part 1, part 2. Press down good. Remember, when you're cutting and the glue is wet, which this still is, do not start at the edge. Start in the center. And I'm putting the line of the cutting right up the little spring in there, or the little wire, right up against my card. Coming a little bit over, it doesn't appear that it's so straight. Cut off the top. Now, let's see. What are we going to put here as a tool? Let's make one. Let's take some of our gears. And we want it, we'll make an easy one. I have all these die cuts to make tabs and everything, but in case you don't, let's make our own. Let's make it about 1.25 inches wide. Let's see. Let's go for 1.5 inches. I'm just going to cut a little piece up here. So we ended up with 1.5 by 2.25. Just going to fold it over. Very simple. You can just put it on like this. You could cut off your edges. That's fine. Let's do that because I'll show you how to get your edges totally straight. So let's cut off an edge. And save it. We cut it off like this. We're going to flip it over. Oops. We're going to flip it. We're going to flip it. This was like so. We're going to flip it over. Put our folded, just if I could hold on to it. I'm sorry, guys. It's so tiny. I'm going to flip it over. And how I know it's right is this is the folded edge here, and this is the folded edge. So you put the two folded edges together. And sometimes they're so tiny you can't get your scissors in there. You could just draw a line right there. Or you just take your scissors because we've got enough space here. Turn it off. And that way, both sides are the same. Let's see if it's too long. No, I can like that. So let's get it inked up. And if you've got decorative punches, you could also put that on the edge. You could round off your edges. Whatever you want to do. Let's get our card inked. going to glue about halfway between here and here on the little tab. Get it lined up somewhere it might be straight. Put it right there. That little piece just wants to be in the camera. I think it's gone now. No need to put glue on this because this will fold over. Check, make sure we folded it straight. We did. That'll be our card in here. Like so. It's growing. Okay, now we need one for here. See if any of our little pieces will work. Don't want them too short. This should work out great. This is one of our 4x6s. And on these, if you wanted the balloon in the back or whatever your other piece is, you could always just fold it in half and it's double-sided. Or if you wanted to write on it, then cut it in half and we'll back it. That's what I generally do. Just gives a person more writing space. And again, I'm going to back it with the solid. Cut off that little edge. Make sure we fit. Yep, perfect. This time, let's make a different pull. Let's take that should work. This is our inch circle punch. Got one of my scraps. Just line it up, get a pretty picture there. Let's take this rose here. Circle all inked up on his edges. Cut out our picture. And we'll take our little rose here and fold it in half. Just going to put a little crease in it. Now you have a choice. You can either glue it with the round side down and have it sticking up like that, or we can cut it in half and have it sticking up like this. If you wanted a piece of it on each side. If you don't, we can glue all of this together and just glue the whole thing down. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's glue it together. Make sure there's nothing sticking out there. Just going to put a line of glue, maybe 1/8 of an inch. In the center. Make sure there's no glue on the other side. That one will go there. And I'm going to push it down. It looks like here's half of the circle, here's the other half. Now we got this little guy. And we had our cards that we were cutting in half. Got all mine messed up. Here we go. Here's our other little 4x6. I think that's what this one is. Maybe a 3x5. Let's see. Nope, it was a 4x6. So let's get him, trim it up, see what we can trim off of him. Because he's going to be the same size, so he's not going to fit. So we can lose this border up here. And then we'll move it down about 1/2 inch from the top here. Let's go up 1/2 inch and see if that works. Nope, a little tight. I'm going to trim off another. And it's about almost 1/4 inch. Just shy. Let's see if I got him. Yep, he fits in there nicely. Need to back him or her. So ladies, don't forget, if you want me to continue making another section and then the journal part, please let me know. If not, I will not do it until I hear from you. And then we need to do our cover. Show you how to put those together. I do have a tutorial out there making a suitcase journal. It is done the same way. The only difference is the pieces. You would need 2 pieces of chipboard, 9x6, 1 piece 4.5x9. And you would lay those out just like I did in the suitcase journal. Glue them all together and wrap it up identical as we did on the suitcase tutorial. Now this time I'm going to put an eyelet in, and you know how I set my eyelets with a hammer, so it's going to be noisy. 3 whacks. I apologize, but I just like that little rose backing. And let's get us an eyelet here. Get our hole punch. Just kind of eyeball it. Make sure that you're on the right side because it's going to pull like so. Pat it down. This is the part where you cover your ears. See how it makes the little flower looking thing? I just like it. Get a piece of our chiffon ribbon. When you lace it through, it's going to twist on you, so make sure that you untwist it. Everybody's laying correctly. Just tie a knot. Kind of pull on each edge, and when you're pulling, pull outward, away from your card. I'll just trim it off. Someone asked where I got all my chiffon ribbon. I've got every color, just about. I just get it off Amazon chiffon ribbon. That's all you have to look for, and you get a ton of choices. We've got anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 2 inches. Now there is our little card that is going to fit here. Now we need to make our flap that's going to hold it in place. So let's get a piece of our scrap paper here. See what I can find. I think I'll use the gears. Do I want that color gears? Or do I want this? I want this one. Okay, what we're going to do, we need at least a 1/2 inch at the top. So we'll just kind of eyeball that, scoot it up a 1/2 inch. Our card is going to be, that's about the closest it can get, so we need about a 1/4 inch from the bottom of this, hopefully. If not, we're going to have to trim off this tab a little bit. And this piece I'm using is just a scrap that I had. Right now it is measuring 4 inches wide. I'm going to fold it. Like so. Put a mark here, because I need to get rid of one side of it. This is going to be our flap. This is going to be the back side of it. So I need to cut this a 1/2 inch shorter than the top. So make us a mark here. 1/2 inch. Hope I'm in camera. And we're going to cut right up to that fold line. So I'm going to make a little mark so I can see it there. And the easiest way to do it is fold it over. Just snip that part off. And we're going to score it right there at the top. Going to ink right there on that fold. Ink the top part here. So this ended up measuring 2 inches wide. I'm going to glue all of it down. this. Trim our edges. Don't cut your score line. Make sure everything is folded right. Yeah. You can round these if you want. You can cut a little corner off, whatever you want. You can leave it straight. I like to leave it straight. It just gives more for the little key to hold on to. This is going to glue. Here's our little flap. It's going to glue like so. And we're going to get it in the center between these two sides here. We put glue on our little flap. Okay, eyeballed it. I'm pushing it right up against the edge of my paper there. And it's going to find its own little mark where it needs to go. And we look like we're pretty good in the center. Give it a little press. Perfect. Okay, let's put our little, I dug out a key a while ago. Like so. Little tiny guy. I'm going to place my key in the center of my band here. Move it down about midway between the end of the band and the end of my paper. Put a little dot in there. And this is where I don't make a big hole, because I don't want it to slide around. I want my little key to be tight. So I'm going to just take my pokey tool, just poke a tiny little hole in there. This is the back of our paper, so it doesn't really matter. This is fiddly for my fingers, so hang on a minute. I'll eventually get it in that hole. Flip it over. Make sure your little prongs are running sideways. Take your scissors or whatever you have and push down right in the center of that brad. That gets it pretty tight. And when we flap this down, turn the little key, he's going to hold it. Now let's see if we need to trim off this tab here, if I got it too tall, if he's going to fit. Oh, we got lucky, ladies. There we go. You could embellish this with some lace, some ribbon, fussy cut, whatever you would like. But this is what we ended up with. Our little pull here, the one we made here, and the big one. And that will sit down just like so. That is our first section. This little gear is going straight here. I think I'll do it this way. Fold this over. Remember our folder we made at the very beginning? This little guy? We're going to glue this down here, but because we have so many flips and flops and everything, we don't want them flipping around, because if it was loose, you've got all this to worry about if you're working on another section. So I always put a ribbon in there and tie them down. So let's see if we want our dark ribbon or our light ribbon. I think I'm going to grab this. Hold on one second. I need to go behind me here and get the dark ribbon. lay it out. I want to catch this little guy, so I'm moving my ribbon down where it is underneath him. It does not matter if it's centered. It's not going to be that far off. Kind of gauge our thing. I always leave a big bow so it's not real fiddly to tie back. Tie it up. You can always trim your edges if they're too long. Now we're going to cover the entire back with glue. These little flaps here, that's where we glued on the other pieces to the front of it. I use a lot of glue because I do not want this to ever pop up. Right up to the edge. We can always wipe the glue off. Glue your ribbon. Make sure it's somewhat straight. You can put a piece of tape over that if you want. It's really not necessary. If it was in a card or something, it would be, because you wouldn't want your card to catch on that little brad. But here, he's never to be seen again. Make sure I got all my edges. Stand up so I can see here. Take him and we're going to lay him down. Just gently lay him down because we've got some wiggle room with the liquid glue. We want about the even space from the fold here to the edge of our card and the edge of the paper to our card. Just give him a little press. Untie our bow. Open it up. I want these little guys out so I can press down. You want to make sure you've got it straight here. You can kind of wiggle now. Looks good. I just rub it long enough that the glue is setting up. Then I would normally start working on another section. I would not tie this back because the ribbon is going to put tension on this piece. And I just let it sit there. And it's nice and flat. We can put this little guy back in there. Here he is, ladies, and this is what we made. We've got our folder, double-sided, our first little flap with all our little pockets, another little pocket, little books we cut out, our belly band that's acetate. You could put more cards in there if you wanted. We've got our pocket here, pocket there, this side pocket. We've got a flip, another pocket, little flip here, little tiny pocket, side band, pocket, pocket. Open it up. We've got our band with our 2 window cards. Remember those? Here's the other one. And the little guy we just made. That is a section. Just like so. Then we would put it in our cover, just like this. I would do 2 more. I would do one more interactive and make the 3rd section nothing but for journaling. So ladies, please let me know if you want me to make more sections and the journal part, or if you can, from what I've shown you how to do the little flips and folds, you feel comfortable making them, let me know, and that will determine what I do. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a great time. Bye-bye.